which we already talked about. So, as you can see, there is 19 policies, which have literally no changes, well, not a single word, that are coming forward. So if anyone wants to look at one specifically, I mean, we can go one by one. We can not go one by one. But if there's anything that anybody wants to look at, we can talk about that. Otherwise, since there is no changes, not even a word, I would just say that these are going to move forward to the next meeting for a first time, or for a first reading of the policies for next meeting. And they'll come forward for approval, I'm sorry, on October 11th. I'm reading the packet now. Does anybody have any questions or anyone that they want to read specifically? Pull out?
Chair Will, I'll just
Yeah,
add if I
go
can.
ahead.
You know, we do have, if you recall, several series of policies that our goal is to get through
Yep.
this year because we got a little bit behind last year and we really want to maintain that 3-year policy review cycle. So one of the things that we did do at the administrative levels, we asked folks who had oversight and responsibility on these policies to come out first with what are those things that there are going to be no recommendations. So that's why you see such a large number of those. So we thought get some of the easy ones out of the way first, because we know there'll be policies coming forward later that are a little bit more time consuming.
Yep, we appreciate
So
that.
just know they were all reviewed very carefully
Okay.
and intentionally, you know.
So, yep,
no
we
need
have,
for
so we have
change.
400s, 500s, 700s, 800s, and 900s in there. So, I mean, there's a good amount of catch up, because we haven't had policies for a while, and so, yeah, that's great. So if I am not seeing anything going forward, those will move forward for board approval on October 11th, 2021. Okay, so then we're gonna start with B, board policies under review with changes, and that'd be 702 accounting. That's Julie, right? And did we want to look at that one? Because I'm assuming there's, I know some of these were title changes, a lot of that. I'm trying to recall what all of them were. This one's each year instead of on or before November 30th. So we had a change in just wanting to not make that a time of year, or what? Is that the specific on that one?
Julie, just want to talk through those changes in there? Thank you.
So we were trying to match them up to the MSBA policy.
Okay. All right.
It's really just a minor change.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it.
And that is what that statute says, is November 30th.
Oh, that's what the statute. Yeah. But we're pulling out November 30th, it's according to that?
Right, so we're matching it up with MSBA policy that says each year the school district
Okay.
shall.
Okay, so that matches MSB.
Right,
Okay. On 704, the fixed assets, that one, it looks like under definition, we're taking out the definition. Fixed assets defined as a building, that's getting crossed out. I'm assuming that maybe the definition changed, or that's matching up with MSBA.
yes, it's matching, any changes that are made in here, they're
matching.
simply matching up with MSBA policy.
Okay. Under investments, this is a title, right?
Right, that's all it is on that one.
And then there's a little change on that one too, that had the 90, instead of 45 days, it's 90 days. Under reporting requirements, under K, number 3, within 90 days after the end of each fiscal year of the school district shall prepare and submit a report. So that looks like there's a longer period of time.
It's a little
there
bit
to-
longer period of time,
for
correct.
reporting. And then student activity accounting, assuming this one was rewritten.
Yes.
I know there's been a lot of changes with
There
legislature.
has been a lot of changes, and this is a lot of changes in the legislation.
Yep.
So again, this one is matching up with MSBA. They had brought forward a policy immediately when all the changes were made, and now it's been updated again. So,
So this is recognizing their changes after that.
correct. We had a very short time period to make those changes when this was in, if you recall, a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
There was a very short time period, and so we put together the policy that we needed at the time, but
Right.
it's been updated since then.
Okay.
I don't really believe that it makes big, significant changes in the policy itself, however.
No, it just looks like it's rewording a little bit.
Right.
There's not much change, no. Okay. And then 902, which is our use of school district facilities. Is this going to be Leanne
Yep, she's
coming up?
coming up right now.
Looks like we just have some title changes and designee and coordinator.
Did you want me to talk?
Yes.
Oh.
Feel free.
Just some minor changes, cleaned it up. We don't have a facility scheduler, so changed it to Gina's title, facility use coordinator, and added the his/her designee for the community ed director position, took off educational, just some minor cleanup and things that were no longer relevant. If you look on page 3, I believe, under the priority areas,
Yeah, that's where I'm looking at.
we don't require the 100% for AAU or elite. We do the 75% of the roster, same as the others. Any questions?
Anyone have any questions on that?
Thank you.
All right. 402.
That one just.
One change,
One change on that one?
and that is to be consistent. If you remember, policy 413, the harassment policy, you spent some time talking about the descriptors in there.
Yep.
And one that you had put in there was gender identity. And thank you, Michael, for catching this. That is one to be consistent with our other policies would be added.
Okay. All right, and that's the last one. Anybody have any other comments, questions on those? Otherwise, those will move forward as listed in your board packet for a first-time read at our next board meeting. Okay. Next up is superintendent, well, we don't have any first readings and we don't have any second readings of policy. So next up is superintendent relations. Any?
The only thing, we have a request to reschedule due to conflicts, the February 14th. We're looking way out down the road. February 14th, 2022 school board meeting, and move that to February 7th. That still allows plenty of time, 2 weeks between the January study session as well as that board meeting. We'd then have 3 weeks between that board meeting and the next study session, I believe.
Does anyone have any issue with that? Because that will probably come forward at the next board meeting, that will change that to the 7th from the 14th.
I actually thought there might be some of you who might be happy about having February 14th free. So hopefully that's going to be a change that will be supported. Thank
right.
you. I know we set those calendars in the summer and then life happens to people. So thanks for understanding. And again, hopefully it's in advance enough that we can make that work. Thank you.
Okay. Then, next up is the public comment or public forum section. And I have one presenter or one comment tonight. And this participation, so so we allow up to 5 speakers for up to 3 minutes to address the board. And speakers will not be allowed to verbally attack, disparage, or potentially defame individual board members, employees, or students, nor may speakers use vulgar or profane language. Also, speakers may be precluded from disclosing personal identifiable private data regarding employees or students. Speakers unwilling to conform to the rules or time constraints may have their privilege to speak ended. Board members shall listen respectfully to issues brought to them by community, but not engage the individuals during this time. The board shall not deliberate or take action during this open forum session regarding the issue presented. If there's follow-up by administration is necessary, the chair would request that the superintendent or designee will follow up on this matter. And with that, I have Marty Malley that would like to speak to the board this evening.
Thanks for giving me the opportunity to speak. I don't do this very often.
All right.
Haven't attended a school board meeting ever before, and I keep saying I'm going to do it, so now
welcome.
I'm here.
Yeah.
My name is Marty Malley, and I'm the parent of 3 children that go to the Prior Lake schools. I have a son in high school who's a senior this year, and I have 2 middle schoolers, a 6th grader and an 8th grader. I'm here today to support parents and medical freedom, not mandates. I'm not new to having to make medical decisions for my children, nor are most parents, because it's our job and not the job of the schools. After quite a bit of research and reading, I have found no evidence supporting that masking healthy people helps to slow the spread of COVID. I find it shameful that this school district supports mandates to mask children that are healthy and who are at such low risk of getting COVID and spreading COVID. I'm not here to educate you on stats over masks or COVID. I'm here to state again that I disagree with the requirements around mask mandates in our schools. Parents should retain the right of medical freedom and be the ones to decide how to care for their children and for the health of their children. There are the Archdiocese, as an example, is given parents the choice to mask their children or not. I think we should let teachers go back to doing what they do best, educating our children. Our kids are already behind because of the lockdowns and distance learning. The district should be focused on getting our kids caught up in school and not harassing them about how they might be wearing their mask. And yes, this harassment happens, and I hear about it on a daily basis. It's not fair to these children who might actually want to just slide it down for a second and get a quick breath of fresh air. It seems to me that our staff would be better on focusing on the subjects that they were hired to educate our kids on. I don't think it's fair to put the staff in a position to be the mask mandate police. I started to think about how all the people who believe that it's okay or that choose to feel more comfortable sending their children to school with a mask covering their nose and their mouth. And I think it's fair to let them make that choice. How do you think they would feel if you told them that masks weren't allowed in schools? I don't think it's fair, and I don't think it's your choice. I think that just as a parent should make the decision to let their child take certain medications, get certain shots, or have surgeries, it should be the parent's choice to do what's right for their children. I'm not asking that you ban masks from the school. All I'm asking is that you give parents the choice to decide what's best for them. Please consider giving parents back the freedom to choose what's best for their children and change the mandate. Masks could certainly be something that is recommended, but I don't think it should be a mandate. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. At that time, I'm going to, let's see. I'm going to adjourn the study session. Oh, yeah. I'm going to adjourn the study session, and then we have to call the meeting to order. I got to get this right. So I'm going to call the meeting to order, and we're going to say the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, and roll call this evening, all members are present with the exception of Mary France. And then, do I have a motion to approve the agenda as listed?
So made.
By Amy, second.
Second.
By Enrique. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes 6-0. And first up is Julie, which I feel like this is deja vu.
Good evening, Board Chair, Board members, and Dr. Stallo. Earlier this evening, we reviewed the district's preliminary levy certification. As you recall, that's increasing 3.24% for this year. And we're asking the board to approve the maximum amount just for small adjustments that the MDE could potentially make at this point. By law, this has to be approved by September 30th.
Okay. All right, give me a second here. Sorry, I'm just catching up on my computer. All right. Do I have a motion to accept the preliminary levy amount as listed in your board packet?
So made.
By Julie, second.
Second.
By Enrique. Any comments, questions?
I just want to clarify that you're approving the maximum.
The maximum. Do you want me to say the number? I'll go back. Will you give me the number? Do you have the number right on top?
The maximum.
The maximum number, yeah, or what, the maximum, we're approving the max. I'm sorry, I'm trying to find it in my packet, that's why I was going there.
I'll pull up the levy certification right here.
Yeah, let's look at
The
it.
maximum, you're approving the word maximum.
Okay, we're approving the maximum levy.
Right, but the amount that is preliminarily being approved is 36,161,341.
Okay, so that,
But you're actually approving the word
we're
maximum.
approving the maximum levy amount. Okay, so that was, who put the motion?
I did that.
Julie, and second by
Second.
Enrique. Any comments or questions? And I'm just gonna refer the public to the discussion that we just had extensively about this, about 40 minutes ago. So rewind your tape, I guess is what. Is that we had an extensive conversation about this. So if anyone doesn't have any other questions than what we already talked about, unless someone wants to make a comment. All right. It's board action. So all those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? That passes 6-0.
Thank you.
Then we have a resolution. And Michael, I believe, is going to read this.
Would you like me to give you some context first?
Yes,
I can just
please
give
do
just
that.
a little bit. We are ready for that November 2nd special election. All of our polling precincts will be open beginning at 7:00 a.m. with the polls closing at 8:00 p.m. on Election Day. Our residents have 3 options for voting in this election. They can vote in person at our absentee location at the DSC, which we talked about a little earlier as well, request a ballot to be sent to them, or they can vote at their regular polling location on Election Day. Per the requirement, the board is requested to approve the trained election judges for this election. If you recall, you may wonder, and folks may wonder, why all precincts are being used for this, and it's because, if you recall, annually in December, the board passes a resolution for the following year to combine polling places if we should hold an election. And during odd years, we typically would combine with the townships of Sand Creek and Cedar Lake with Spring Lake Township due to the low number of residents in those 2 townships. So with that, board members, I would request that Director Nelson read that resolution and approve it, please.
Okay.
Be it resolved by the school board, the Board of Independent School District, number 719, Prior Lake Savage Area Schools, Minnesota, the school district as follows. It is hereby found, determined, and declared as follows. 1, The following individuals, each of whom is qualified to serve as an election judge, are hereby appointed as judges of election for the school district's special election on November 2nd, 2021, to act as such at the polling places listed below. And those are listed in the document provided in the board packet. Number 2, the election judges shall act as clerks of election, count the ballots, cast and submit the results to the board for canvass in the manner provided for other school district elections. Number 3, the following individuals, each of whom is qualified to serve as an election judge, are hereby appointed as absentee ballot board members for the school district's special election on November 2nd, 2021, to act as such at the absentee voting location listed below. And those names are listed. And number 4, the following individuals, each of whom is qualified to serve as an election judge, are hereby designated to deliver absentee ballots to hospital patients and residents of healthcare facilities in accordance with Minnesota statutes, Section 203B.11, Subdivision 1, for the school district's special election on November 2nd, 2021.
All right. Do I have a motion to approve the resolution as read?
So made.
By Enrique, a second?
Second.
By Jonathan. Any questions, comments? Okay. This is a roll call vote. Julie?
Aye.
Jonathan?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Enrique?
Aye.
Amy?
Aye.
Aye. That passes 6-0. Okay, now I'll take, take a motion. I'll adjourn the regular meeting, and we're going to transition to a closed meeting. The closed session is going to be pursuant to attorney-client privilege to discuss a lawsuit by a former student. The next item on the agenda is a closed session that will be allowed the school board to receive legal advice related to a former student's claim in the matter entitled Jane Doe versus ISD 719. The open meeting law, Minnesota statute 13D 05 subdivision 3B states that the school board may close a meeting pursuant to the attorney-client privilege. During the closed meeting, the school board will discuss with its attorney the claims made against the district and the district's potential defenses to the same. The board will discuss with its attorney how it wishes to proceed in the lawsuit, including making strategy decisions. There is a need for an absolute confidentiality because the district's position would be compromised if such discussions took place in public and could be overheard by the former student or her attorney. Accordingly, pursuant to the law I have cited, I will hereby entertain a motion that this meeting be closed pursuant to the attorney-client privilege. I have made the motion to adjourn the meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
To Michael. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That passes 6-0. And we're closed. We'll take a 5-minute recess.